Dang, Kyle, you're already here.
Yeah, I figure I get here early. Had a break in my day. I've been trying to find my next task, but my supervisor hasn't assigned anything to me. So I was trying to reach out to him, and he's busy. Like, man. So like, oh, check out what Jeremy's doing.
Let me think here. Let's see what I'm doing. All right. How have you been? How's work been?
Sorry, I'm eating.
Okay.
Yeah, work's been good. Been staying really busy.
Are you still doing those two jobs? When are you going to get down to one
Yeah,
job?
I'm still doing two. So my old job, they just hired a new developer, so I'm trying to train him up. He's got a lot to learn. Doesn't know any JavaScript, and I built so many web viewer features that he's going to have a really hard time. I did so much HTML web viewer work for them. He's never touched this stuff before, so I'm like, okay, so you don't know what a web viewer is. let's get you going on this. So yeah, we're trying to get through the whole training process and showing them all the features and everything that I built over many years of working for them.
Wonderful.
A little overwhelming for both of us, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right, let's see here.
So do you have a new set of classes coming out soon?
I do. I have one starting next week, and one starting next week, and one starting, I think, in June, and then there's one in July. They are 3 hours long each. I might update one of them to be just like 2 hours to save people time. It's tough to do 3 hours in a row.
Yeah. It's a lot of knowledge to take in, and it's a lot to share, and that's a lot of information.
Yeah. So I'll probably do that. But yeah, I've got some comment, and I might do like a charting in depth class where we just focus on Apex charts or C3 or something, and just do something different. But haven't need to work that out.
Have you been doing a lot of data tables lately?
Yeah, training people on it, teaching people how to use it, so that's good. I just got finished with a group. I just got finished with a group that we did a bunch of charting, or I did spent time on data tables today. So
yeah. Hey, Orlando.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. How are you both?
Good. Okay, I'm trying to get connected to, there we go. Okay. Oh, I just finished a 3-hour course with the people, and now I'm heading with you guys. Actually, would you guys mind giving me a 5-minute break? I'm gonna use the restroom and get something to drink. So be right back.
Go for it.
You two chat amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
All right.
How are you doing, Kyle?
Doing all right.
How's the new job? not so new now, but I don't think I've seen you since.
I'm staying really busy, so it's a lot. It's been a lot to learn. The new job, it works. They work with DynamoDB and AWS Event Bridge and S3 buckets, and also there's a data warehouse side of it. So it's a lot more than just FileMaker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of learning going on that. And plus I do a lot of web viewer work. So which is one of the reasons I got the job. Like, oh, JavaScript and FileMaker. So
Fantastic. Oh, well, that's good. It sounds good.
Yeah.
You don't sound too exhausted. So
well, yeah, I actually took Monday off to fix my sister's car. So it's actually day number 2 this week. So I actually got a break from both jobs there.
And car maintenance.
Yeah. I'm a man of many talents. I did roofing for about 20 years, all kinds of different construction. In that time, I worked on a lot of vehicles. That's your vehicles always break down when you're doing construction. So I got to learn all of that. And, every evening I would go home and I would work on my programming skills. I'd try to build all these applications, and because that was my, real pride and joy in life is, programming computers and trying to extend my skills. And
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't do roofing forever. So I wanted to have a backup plan. And the day came, I got injured too bad and I couldn't do roofing anymore. And I'm like, well, it's time to start searching for that IT job I've been training for years and years. So yeah, that was really cool to finally get a full-time job doing FileMaker work. And it's been almost 10 years now that I've been, pretty much FileMaker everything.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like an interesting way to get into it.
yeah, well, it was always part of my backup plan. I knew I couldn't do construction forever. It's too hard on your body. I knew eventually I would fall off a roof or get injured somehow. And it's just so hard on your back. And I'd get home at the end of work every day and I couldn't get out of the car to walk to the front door. So it's like, if I can't do that, something's wrong. I need to re-examine my life. So yeah, I ended up looking around and found a job. I worked for Bellevue Athletic Club and helped out their facilities team, and then I was building them a new database at the same time. So I got to be on both a user and a developer at that time. And so that was back in FileMaker 13, I think was what I was working in then. So definitely a different world now.
Yeah, well, I started with 5.5. So that is very different now to what it was then. Yeah, it's crazy different.
Yeah, FileMaker 7 just changed everything.
Yeah, big time.
I started with version 8. That's when I was, first introduced to FileMaker. Somebody gave me a free copy of it because they had a copy, and I told them I needed something that can work on Windows or Mac and the database. And obviously Microsoft Access wasn't working for me. And I was trying to do it in Microsoft Excel because I could use that on both Mac and Windows, and trying to build a database out of a spreadsheet using macros and user forms just wasn't working. So I'm like, well, I'll check out FileMaker. And then I started learning it from then. So, but it wasn't until like FileMaker 8 when I finally quit or 12 when I quit my other job and got full time into FileMaker. But I was introduced to it before. I had, lots of practice each evening till that point. And then, I was able to get a job and doing FileMaker back then. We were using the FMP host because they had a cloud service. It was only like $15 a month back then, which was really nice. So the whole FileMaker world's changed a lot in the past 10 years.
Yeah, no, it really has. And it's going to change even more soon.
Well, since version 16, it's just, introduction of APIs and JSON just changed everything. And then web viewers coming into play, and FileMaker 19 really turned that around. giving us new functions. Before 19, we were having to deal with the FMP URL, and then it couldn't find the application we were working in. It would like find the different version of FileMaker, and be like, I can't find your app. I'm in the app. So you had to use FMP 18 in the URL, or so 18 tried to fix that problem.
Yeah, I think it did. And then kind of in that problem again now with 19.1.2. But yeah, no, it's always improving. That's the main thing.
Yep.
Keeps us busy.
Oh, all right. I feel refreshed, sort of. I really want to go jump in my swimming pool, but I gotta wait. Gotta wait till this is over.
That's why people have laptops. You could be in the swimming pool doing this.
Yeah.
Cool. Imagine.
All right.
Yeah, I created a custom function for C3 charting to collect data, just using a found set. So it's an interesting function to try to create, to just loop through the found set and using it inf record and building the JSON that the chart needed.
Good. That's cool, and that's a perfectly good way to do it.
Yeah.
I'll show you something that. All right, so let's get that off. All right, so today I want to spend some time. If I don't collapse, I want to go through working with data to summarize it in a nice way using JavaScript. Yes, I certainly could do this in FileMaker. I could use execute SQL, custom functions, whatever. But I want to talk about it, how to do here. Before that, I want to show what one of my students did in a course, which I think she's pretty awesome. She's kind of pushed this far above what anybody in that course has done. So that's pretty awesome. But she's got two charts and we'll watch it play out, but there's some really good interaction. So let's see here. So that's pretty awesome. I'm pretty shocked at what she was able to do here, because I mean, we talked about working with two charts. We talked about loading data into a chart, but she actually expanded it to say, if they click on something, send that back to FileMaker, and then use whatever I sent back, like this date, to update this chart in the bottom. So that's pretty awesome. What she didn't understand, and this is what prompted this this conversation today, is that she didn't know how to summarize the data, because this was just coming from a regular data set and a regular record table and table of records, and she didn't know how to summarize it. So it occurred to me that we could explore that in the JavaScript. It's too much to explore it during a training session because this is kind of advanced, but Orlando, the work that we've been doing the last couple of weeks with the data manipulation stuff is what I'm going to be using here to work this out. So yeah, so the goal is today to take this C3 library that I've got. Right now I have hard-coded data in here that's JSON. And that's one of the data possibilities with the C3 charts is you could give it an array of objects. And as long as you tell it which of the key properties is the X value and which is the values to plot, then it'll be just fine, and we can pull out data from this. Again, this 30 is a summary. It's supposed to have like counted. It's supposed to have summarized the number of sales for apples in the month of January, for example. But I don't actually have this in FileMaker. And I'm curious, Kyle in Orlando, do you ever build, do you ever take like a table like this sales data that's got 32,000 records in it that describes every day something is sold and what product was sold? So if I look at this date, I see that a lot of things were sold on that date. Do you ever take this data and summarize it into a separate table?
So oh, go ahead, Orlando.
Okay. Yeah, I do for some things. So for example, a manufacturer, they want to see what's going through the factory. So I've got a by item audit log, and then at the end of the day, I'm summarizing that to give them the totals. To do quick reporting, it's just to get quick reporting in FileMaker, so they don't have to keep summarizing it each time. So I have things like that, and then I'm trying to pass that into the charts.
Okay.
Into charts.
So you're building a summary table to summarize the data and then passing that in. Great. How about you, Kyle?
So there's a couple different ways of doing it. So the algorithm that I made for my custom function, it basically does a count of the product within the date range and how many times that product was sold. So that's how I built my custom function for the charting. But you can also do the same trick to summarize as well. And it just basically uses a while function to create a loop, and it loops through the found set. And then you just updates the JSON as it loops through all the found set records. And then it can summarize and build it right there without having to add any summary fields or creating a table or anything.
Yep.
And it's still pretty fast too. It's almost instant. It just depends on the found set, of course. If you have 100,000, it's going to take a while.
So that's not stored in a table, that's on the fly?
Yeah, that's on the fly. That's a custom function that just loops through your found set. So you perform a find first to get the records you want to summarize. And then you just run through the while calculation, and it'll spit out the JSON on the other side for the chart.
Yeah. Okay. So there are libraries that can do this, and somebody in the earlier office hours reminded me of. Let's see if I have a copy of it. JSONata. JSONata is a library.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, you mentioned that in one of your podcasts, right?
I did. Yeah, me and
So that was one of your first ones.
me and FileMaker Hacks, Kevin Frank, we talked about that. So it's supposed to construct a query and then get the results. So if I were to, I have no idea. I'm going to play with this and see. But first I'm going to write this. I'm going to write a summary function in JavaScript from scratch. And then I'll see if one of these can help me. Actually, this would do it. This would probably do it exactly what I wanted to. That's interesting. So it's taking the date field and it's doing the sum of the amount. So so here's my problem. Not my problem, but, and I'll have to play with this and see, but I've got all this data and well, that actually, I don't know. So I've got this data. What I did is I took all 30, actually, I don't think I took 3,400 records. Okay, so let's just start over. I have this basic sales table. I could summarize it, and that makes sense. I could summarize it by month and a year, month, and product, and put a total for each product in that month of that year. Could certainly do that. That makes a lot of sense because September of 2021 is not going to change. The quantity sold doesn't change dramatically. And even if it did, we could add a negative. There's not much worry about that. But I'm going to try to write a function to summarize the data from scratch. And I think what I want to do is just, I'm going to start with some sample data. So I'm just going to pull out some data from the records. I'm going to pull out 100 records from this layout, and I'm going to stuff them into the JavaScript so I don't have to keep on running this. Results, okay. Let's do JSON get element data or result, and then do response.data. Okay, so here's 100 records, the first 100 records in this, and I'm just going to call this good and pretend that this is my data set for now. I'll bring it over here. I've got this sales data file, salesdata.js. And the reason I'm replacing it is because I was just working with a month here. And I'm going to put it into a variable equals, paste that in, let it format. So now I have 100 records of 1 record per day per product. And then how many were sold on this day of this product. So this is my sample data that I'm going to use to work with. And to get it over in the other file, I'm going to do an export const, and I'm going to export the sales data, and I'm going to import it into my index.js file. Okay, so far, so good. We're going to do a lot of running and viewing in the console. So I might as well open the console up. And I don't actually need the chart right now. I can maybe get rid of that, but we'll see. If it becomes a burden, I'll get rid of it. Okay, so the point is to take this data and to construct an object that looks like this, construct an array that looks like this, that contains one object for a month and the total products sold, the total value, the total quantity of this product sold. Once I have that with real data, I can graph the real data in here. So I have to take this raw data and I have to construct it so it looks like this. Okay, should be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the thing that I need to start with is, because the x-axis is the month key, I need to start with all of the months. And I could pull out the unique months from this array set, but if I do that, they're going to be in whichever order. Like April is going to be first always, and then June, because those are happen to be the first two. So obviously I want them to go in the right time. So I'm going to construct a variable called months. And I will put in, see if this finishes it for me. Yep. So I've got a months array here. This is the order that I want them to be in. And this word matches the full month name that's in the data set. Mm-hmm. So basically, I need to start with the month of January. I need to comb through all the records to find data that has that month in the month key property. And then I need to do some summing of those records. All right. So, okay, I've got the months. Now, and this is what we did in our training, Orlando, is I'm going to, let's see, I need to, I'm going to create a variable called, okay, here's what I need. I'm going to do this final object. This is what I want my data to look like. I want to be an array, and I want one of the pieces to be month, one of the keys in January. And then I want peaches, 0, apples, 0, doesn't really matter the order, bananas, 0. This is kind of my starting, I guess. This seems to be a starting thing for me. Pears, 0. So this is what it's got to look like with the month being filled in with whatever month we're working on. We're going to need an array of 12 items, one for each month, and the correct value. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to create an object here, const object. And I think what I want to do is I want to go through the months one at a time, and I want to perform a map on them. I want to take this array, that's what this is for. I want to apply a function to this array for each of the elements in the array. And I want to create a new object. Hopefully that new object has everything that I want. So the map function, the map method in JavaScript will apply a function. It will apply a function to every element, and it will use the result of this function. It will add that to this variable's array. So, I mean, I could do something as simple as the function needs 2 parameters. It needs a data element, and it could take an index. And really what I could do is I could just say return I, and then console log that, obj, and in my web viewer, const map, return I. Object must have an initializer. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So now what I simply did is I created an array. I created a 12 element array because months has 12 items in it. And I just returned the index of the element that I was working with. So January is at index 0. So that's what I returned here, and so forth. So that's not really useful, but it does show me that I can create a new array. So what I want to do is ultimately what I want is something like this. I'm going to start with that months, and I'm going to pass in 1 month at a time. So January will come into this function, and then it will go into its place right here. So I'm going to return this object into the array instead with the name of the month in the month property. So when I do that, beautiful. I'm on my way.
Nice.
I'm able to construct a new array with this right here. Okay. But obviously I don't want that. So, but this is, okay, so this is a nice array object to start with for every month. When I get to January, I want all of these to be zeroed out, and then I'm going to slowly add to them each time. Then when I get to February, I want this to be zeroed out. So I'm actually going to move this outside of the return. I'll just say return I for a moment. I'm going to say const start object equals this. Okay. So every time we run this function again on another month, it's going to create an object with that month in there and all of the products zeroed out. Great. So now I'm working with 1 month. So if I think about this logically, I first work with January. I need to go to this data set and find all of the records where the month is equal to January, right? Does that make sense? Because I don't want to sum up any that are in June or whatever. I want to just find the records that have a month of January. So I'm going to do that. Const filtered data equals sales data dot filter. I'm going to pass in an item, or I'm going to pass in a record. I like the word record because those are records over there. And I'm going to return anything where the record dot month is equal to the month that's in question. So this is a nice filter function. This function will be applied for every record in this data set, all 100 of them in this case. And it will put only the records where record.month. Oh, it's not record.month, it's record.field data.month. Because that's the actual path. Here's a record. The month is at field data.month. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Console.log filtered data. Let's run that. FileMaker. Can't find, oh, I got the wrong word. There we go. There we go. Nice. All right, so let's see what happened. Oh, this is nice. So it looks like for the month of January, it returned 11 records. So there are 11 records that have the month of January. Great. Yep, these all have January. The next month was February. There are 8 months in February, or 8 records in this data set that are February. Then we have March, all the way down to the last set, 7 records, with it being December. Okay, so I'm on the right track. So in this variable for a particular month, I've just got the records that meets the criteria. Great. Now, what I need to do is I need to, oh, did he leave? Did Kyle have to leave?
Didn't see any message.
Yeah, I don't see it one either. But, let me let my dog in. Didn't need in. So now, all I have to do now, I think, is I have to update this object with the value, with the quantity of each record in this filtered data set. So I'm going to start with the filtered data. I'm going to apply a for each to it. I'm going to pass in one filtered record. And this is what I'm going to do. The start object is right here. So I'm going to take that start object. Oh, first of all, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do const product equals f dot field data dot product, because I want to pull the product out of the record. And again, we're thinking about the January record. So this record right here. I want to just separate it out. And then I'm going to do const quantity equals field data dot quantity. And I'll just do a console log of this quick. Product and quantity. All right, so there we go. So there's a ton of records. Actually, let's do this. Let's do month, product, quantity. So there we go. So January, the first record in the January set had bananas and the quantity was 10. The next one had bananas 100 and so forth.
Yeah.
So all I have to do now is I have to update this value, this object right here, by adding whatever the product is, in this case, bananas, to what it was before, adding what it was before to the quantity that came in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can do start objects. That's the over here. And I'm going to access the product key, whichever product it is. And then I think I can just do this. It's telling me I can do this. I can just do I always forget what that is. JavaScript plus equals. So this is an addition assignment. It adds the value of the right operand to a variable and assigns the result to a variable. So a plus or plus equals 3. So it starts with a and it adds 3 to it. Okay. Interesting. So let's see what this does. So I go through the 11 January records and I update the product and the quantity. And then all I have to do is return the start object. So let's see what that looks like. Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. Look at that. I've got 12 elements, one for each month. And it looks like I have a sum for each one of those. I'm a little concerned because some of them don't have any values, but
That might be okay.
might be okay. Yeah. I'm going to actually do something here. I did this the last time and it worked out nicely. So here's what I'm going to do. In my console, I'm going to get rid of I'll keep the month. I'm going to keep the quantity. What I'm going to put in here is start object product. So what I want to do is I want to look at what was the value before, what is the quantity, and then I should see. So here we go with bananas. It started at 0, and then there was, in the first record, there was a quantity of 10, so it said 10. So it added those together. The next row, or the next time bananas comes in the records, it says, oh, well, the product, the value of this right here was already 10, but the and what came in was 100 more. So then the next time bananas, it was going to add those two together, because the next time bananas came in as a record, it said, all right, you had 110, which was 10 plus 100. There's 38 more. So in its counting, it said that's 148, and that's true because bananas down here in January, the value of the object, the value of the key, the property in the object was 148 plus 10, 158 plus 30, And that's it for bananas. So bananas here for January. Oh, it was 158. Okay. Cool. All right. So now it feels like I can just take this and I can replace this JSON, this fake JSON. I'm going to copy that first and put it in a new file. Const old data, wait, old data.js, const old data equals, there we go. I'll just keep that. There we go. All right. So if I put the JSON in there, then I have these. Oh, look at that. Up. Bananas was 188. That's interesting. Is that right? So 10, 110, 148, 158, 188. Okay, that's right. Because 158 plus 30 is 188. That would be the last value of that key. So there we go. That's wonderful. Hey, Marty.
Hello.
So I'm able to, it's going great. How are you doing?
All right. In a few minutes.
All
And it
right.
just popped up on my thing, so I figured I'd pop in and say hi and see what's new.
Yeah, well, we're exploring how to summarize data with JavaScript. Taking raw data and summarizing it using JavaScript. So this is great because I'm able to just pass in the raw data and then I'm able to summarize that very clearly. And I think it's just like, where was the zero there? Oh, there's some apple. Those apples had 0 in August. That's interesting. Just going to look at August. So there's grapes there, peaches, bananas, pears, grapes, peaches, bananas, pears. Oh, wait, I'm just going over and over. So it looks like in August, there were only 6 records. None of them had apples. So, yep, that seems to be correct. All right, nice. So now I'm able to summarize this. It feels a little bit, I mean, this works perfectly. So what would I do to make this? I'm trying to think. Now that I have it I want to figure out how could I create a function with this, because all of this stuff right here, all of this stuff is basically the work, the thing that's working. So I'm going to start by, I guess, wrapping it in a function. Const summarize data equals, I'm not sure what I'm going to put in there yet. All right. Well, let's see, what am I using? I'm using months. I don't actually have to pass it in because it's up here, but I'm going to go ahead. How would it be a problem if I passed it in? No, it wouldn't. So months is here. So I'm going to start with some months. I probably actually want to pass in my start object, because this, do I want that? I don't know. I don't know if I need it to be a function, but I'm going to try to make it a function. So months needs to come in and the sales data needs to come in. So this object, okay, so I've got this weird function. I've got this object that starts with that. It does all of its stuff. the value of whatever happened here in the start object gets returned to the object itself. And then I think I need to just return the object to the main function. So if I run this, I'm going to get all sorts of errors. But if I say const JSON data equals summarized data, and I pass in those two data sets, and then I put that here. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'm still getting an error. Can't find variable object. Okay, so I've got object. Oh, this console log right here, that's messing it up. There we go. Great. So now I have a function that if I pass in the list of months and the sales data, then I will be fine. You know what I could do? I think this tells me that I could actually comment this out. There we go. So now I only have 6 months to work with. I could do, if I wanted to put in October, I could. So it's going to respond to the dynamic nature of what months I'm passing it in. And then of course, the data that comes in from FileMaker through this variable there. So there you go. I feel like this feels a bit, I'm trying to wonder if this will, so there's a lot of hard-coded stuff in here, and that's unfortunate. Like I've got product and quantity. So this will only work if the sales data has a product field, a quantity field, and a month field.
Yeah.
I could, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's more work that I could do to make it work for anything, but I think if I were to actually, but this function works for this data set. If I have another data set that is in a different project, I would just rewrite this or copy it and then update the keys in here so that it would work for that. But this works fairly nicely. I like this. Although it might be interesting to, what might be interesting is to tell it which value to work with. So I've got 3 values in here. I've got quantity, total cost, and unit cost. Rather than, I could pass in quantity there. And then that, instead of hard coding quantity, I could say value there. Get rid of this, I don't need that. And I'm going to do, I'll do sum there. And then I'll put sum there. All right, so now if I pass in quantity, I get, yep, that looks good. What if I passed in total cost? Nice. It's funny because the numbers aren't changing, or the bars aren't changing, because it's the relative, it's the same height, whether it's the total cost or the, but there we go. So now unit cost doesn't make sense because it's going to be, I don't need to sum that up, but there we go. So I could either pass in the quantity or the total cost, and I get 2 different charts with different data sets. Interesting. Orlando, do you have thoughts about this?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I could do with for a couple of data sets I have. So no, that's really
So
good.
you've done this, or you feel like you could?
I would consider using this for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, for sure. Rather than summarizing it in FileMaker, this will be a lot quicker to get it into the charts, or get it into any library, I suppose.
Yeah, Yeah. Obviously this works for, oh, I want to do one more thing. I'm going to get, so what am I going to do here? What was I going to do? Oh, so I've got this hard coded as the keys, but I could actually do this. I could say const keys equals, I don't want to hard code it. I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to put that, hold on. I'm going to start, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to do, put it down here. Const keys equals, I'm going to use the object.keys function. And I'm going to give it the JSON data, which is an array. I'm going to give it the first element in that array. So now I can get rid of these and put in keys there. So there we go. It's not going to break anything because now it's pulling the keys dynamically. I could actually do this. I could say dot filter key doesn't equal apples. So that pulled out the apples key there.
Oh, yeah.
Or I could actually just do one of them and say just do apples. That's really cool. So I mean, maybe that's a I don't know. It'd be interesting to try to give it an array of values. Hey, Louis, welcome back. Didn't get enough of me, huh?
Hello, thank no, no, I missed you yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Cool. So yeah, this is
What are you trying?
What are we trying? We are
Yeah.
taking the charts, the C3 charts that we did that last week with you, and instead of passing it summarized data, we're passing it a bunch of records that describe the sales for a specific day, month, and product, and we're trying to sum those up. So I want to sum up every bananas sold in June, and I want to get the total sum of that quantity field there. So I'm running a function to summarize the data rather than using FileMaker to provide the C3 library, the summarized data. So this is useful, and it's exercising my JavaScript abilities to be able to use the different methods that we learned, like map and for each and filter and so forth. So, and Louis, that's what we did yesterday when you were.
Yeah, I'll catch up on that tomorrow probably.
Cool.
Does it recognize dates? These
It
methods.
does. Yeah.
Just because obviously your this one is fixed to January to December. Obviously, it's not going to span multiple years.
Yep.
So can you do it so that it arranges the records in date order and then?
Let's see. Time series. If I say that it's field data dot date, and I'm going to do I'm just going to field data dot apples, and I'm going to give it the sales data. See if that worked. Nope. It does recognize dates, but I think it recognizes, yeah, it's having trouble with the data object. So what I might do is do what I would probably do, man, is I would do install npm install moments.
Oh yeah, that's the.
And I would do import moment from moment. And then I would do what I might do is sales data dot for each, take each one at a time and add return I'll do e dot new date equals moment e dot date. I'm just going to leave it at that, see if it can handle that. So I'm adding a new key to each of the elements, and then see how that worked. That didn't work either. Did I stop? Oh, I stopped it from running. Okay, start. Okay. Yeah, don't like that. I'm not sure. It does handle time because that's what the video that I showed does have time in it. I think I'm just the time field, the date field is not perfect. Let's just try one more thing. Format. I'll do month, day, year. I don't know if it's going to work. Nope. Still not. And this is messy. How about, yeah, I'm not sure yet. I have to think through that. But anyway, I am able to work with a data set and take raw data and then summarize it and get a chart. There we go. That's great.
Fantastic.
All right. Oof. I think this JSONata is the way to go, though. I'm going to have to play with this and see if I can work it out. It does do a nice sum. So I'm going to have to play with this and see if I can get that to work. And then if it does, then I would install JSONata into my project, and then I would use its functionality to run a query and do the summarization for me. So
Is there a point when you've got so many libraries in one function that it's going to
no,
problematic in terms of getting it into the web viewer? Or
I haven't found that to be the case. The add-ons that we have in there are filled with packages. There's probably 30 in there.
oh, okay.
So yeah, I don't think it would be a problem. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks for joining me, Louis and Marty. Thanks for joining me. I need to rest because I've been talking for 4 hours now. So
You need to jump in the pool.
I'm going to do that right now. So all right, folks, thank you for joining me. I'm going to get this posted and the early office hours up, and it'd be fun if you watched the other one just to see how we did things differently there. I definitely took my cues from the earlier one to build this function. I knew what I was doing better, but I tried to pretend like I wasn't. So yeah, check that one out too if you get a chance to watch the early version. So all right, well, Louis, thank you for joining me, and
Yeah, no problem.
stay in touch. I
Maybe
appreciate it.
later.
Yeah.
Yes. See you.
Bye-bye.
Can I make one request before you post?
Yeah.
I've just tested that theory I said earlier where I thought I had it working, and it's absolute BS. So it doesn't return the sub-summary values. It returns all the records with the summary values. It can actually be quite confusing.
Yeah.
So don't do
Okay.
it.
You want me to delete that
I don't
out?
know what crazy dream I was having when I thought that worked. Anyway.
I'll delete that out.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.